Hello and welcome everyone for a special side session flashback for Aso Yuri to decide what happened in his time away from the group. This is our first developmental side session that we are posting live stream. So we have Aso here, and he had spent some time searching for his lost apprentice, and only to find out that the lost apprentice has boarded a ship on the paper piers and had disappeared, um, with undertones and hints that it was not of her will. Uh, so when we last left Aso in his development thread on Obsidian Portal, he had just cast a weave that allowed him to sprout fairy type wings, moth like wings, and he has departed Saturnine and started flying over the Alone in search of his lost apprentice. Does that sound about right, Aso?
Yep, pretty much spot on. I'm just hoping for the best here.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and deal a Sooth card and see where it takes us.
Oh boy.
We've got some compelling darkness here.
Seems fitting. Ooh,
He's
his
kind of
face.
cute.
Enveloping darkness. Okay. So you fly out over the Alone, and for what seems like weeks on end, you search for any sign of any ships or anything. The Alone is scattered and dotted with islands with many strange things. So along the way, you have time to stop and land. Um, and as the weeks slowly turn into a month, you start to feel a little bit of doubt that you're ever going to find this ship. Then, as darkness falls one night and you happen to still be up in the sky, you see on the horizon a light coming from a vessel. Um, and it appears that you may have gotten lucky.
Alrighty. I'll approach it slowly, trying to get it more in view so I can kind of make out what I'm walking into. Um, and specifically looking for that coined blue swish of hair that comes with Verity.
All right. As you fly closer under the moonlight, you can see this massive vessel, um, far larger than what you would have expected, um, and recognize it from tale and rumor around Saturnine as the Valedictorian. It's a university type ship, um, that happens to normally dock in Ripper River, which makes you curious what it was doing at the paper piers.
Alrighty. With its notoriety in Saturn, you said it's more of an academic kind of vessel?
That's what it's known for, yes.
Okay. Does it belong to a specific academy, Vance, Weaver, Maker?
No.
Okay. Mm. Alrighty, I'm going to fly down towards the surface of the water and try to approach in the under the sight of whoever may be on lookout, and attempt to reach one of the side ladders or ropes near the base of the water.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and make a die roll for that? And we will say that that is going to be a movement action.
Alrighty, I'm gonna hold my movement just in case I need it later. So I'm just gonna roll. It's going to be a 6.
All right. Um, your feet barely touch the tops of the water as you come in at a low angle on this massive ship. Um, you're able to easily slink in under the cover of darkness and make it to the boarding ramp, which is perpetually lowered at its side by the massive water wheels. There's a twin set of water wheels on both sides that kind of propel this massive ship forward, like an old fashioned steam ship. Um, and when you arrive there, you're able to land on the platform and work your way to a set of stairs that lead up to the top deck. And you can hear people milling about, sailors, different crewmen talking. You don't see a lot of students or anything roaming around because it's night. Um, but you are on the side of the ship.
Alrighty. Not in any particular manner of stealth, but I will walk up to the dock and look for a crate or an empty chair. Um, if I can find one up on the dock area. Kind of keeping my head down, but not. I'm not trying to be super stealthy. I'm just trying to blend in.
All right. Um, go ahead and make a roll for I'm going to say interaction because you're not really like being stealthy. You're just kind of acting like you belong there. So,
Yeah. Alrighty. It's gonna be an 8.
all right. So, as you go, you find plenty of barrels and crates and chairs um, in a side area near a port that heads down into the deeper recesses of the vessel. There's plenty of stuff there, and the sailors kind of don't even take notice of you as you move along uh, the top of the ship. And for the most part, the sailors kind of just keep to their work. You hear them bantering about their next location and about an island that they had stopped by recently that was covered with denizens from the green sun.
Alrighty. I'm gonna just kind of post up, sitting on a smaller crate that sat next to a larger one, almost in a chair fashion. Um, and I want to observe the millings of the ship, people coming and going um, over the next hour or so, unless I'm approached. Um, and I'd like to do that with like a sortilege, so kind of eyes darting back and forth, listening to bits of conversation here and there, um, to try to um, gather any information about the passengers on board.
Sure, go ahead and roll, and we'll call that a perception check. And you can roll an extra die for pushing the sortilege.
Alrighty. Double threes. I'm going to buy a lottery ticket.
All right. Almost a full hour passes, and you collect very little useful information. Um, it seems like the ship has been out to sea for quite a while, and there's a lot of banter, a lot of back and forth talk. Um, most of the crew is using another entrance to the lower decks on the far side of the ship. The entrance to the lower decks on your side seems to be very seldom used. Um, and as you're sitting there observing all of this, you hear kind of a low rumble. Um, and one of the nearby sailors says, "It sounds like our guests are getting hungry. Perhaps we need to feed them," to another sailor. Um, and the other sailor kind of just chuckles with almost a devious laugh and it says, Well, what's the point of bringing them all with us from Saturnine if we don't feed them every once in a while?
The rumbling, does that happen to be coming from the path less traveled entrance to the lower decks?
Yes.
He'll I'll walk towards that entrance, and on the way by, kind of just give a pat on the back. Keep up the good work, gents. And make my way towards that quieter entrance with the low growl.
All right. Now I'm going to play another Sooth card as you approach that entrance.
Oh, that looks promising.
Yeah.
He's about to
Yikes.
get it. Oh, look at that. It says Nemesis on it, too. So, yeah, screwed. Love it.
All right. So you head over to this entryway into the lower decks, and immediately upon getting there, you can see like a dull light glowing down the staircase, and you hear something scraping, like being dragged across a metal floor um, down below. That makes, it's like nails on a chalkboard type thing, like something heavy being dragged across metal. Um, and outside of that, you notice that the sailors pretty much stay away from this side of the vessel.
Alrighty. I would like to go as stealthy as possible here. This does seem like I'm getting myself into a little bit more of, per se, the shit. So I will try to duck around the walls, keeping a hand on the walls, making sure I'm keeping my my footing here, and try to slip around and investigate the noise of that dragging.
All right, go ahead and make a movement check.
Alrighty. Boom. Solid 1.
And that's a -1 because of the Nemesis card. So that is a solid 0.
Beautiful.
You're about as silent as a cell phone in church.
Still using my umbrella to walk. Click, click.
So as you make your way down the stairs, you come face to face with a large, grotesque looking creature. You recognize it immediately from Saturnine as a claw sinister, a creature from the dark that has one arm that is extremely huge and overblown like a big crab arm, and it's dragging that arm across the metal floor. And immediately, the sight of this type of dark demon on the ship so casually almost puts you in a state of shock. Like, it was completely unexpected to see a demon of this nature just kind of lingering around below. Um, Unfortunately, as you came down the stairs, it happened to be looking right at you um, as you descended the stairs, and immediately it lets loose another like low grumble as it comes towards you, um, ready with its claw to attack.
It's making an aggressive stance towards me.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You recognize this as a creature that's always hungry for flesh and savage.
Alrighty. I will, in a dodging effort, take a couple steps back up the stairway, hoping I don't trip, to try to get out of reach of him on this first swing.
All right, go ahead and roll.
I will use my movement now and see what happens. So 8 with the +1 -1.
All right. You easily get out of his way as the lumbering, bulky mass moves forward and swipes with his giant claw arm, and his claw bangs noisily off the metal wall next to you. And you just hear from up above a voice yell out, "Keep that thing quiet." And the creature just howls in protest. Your go.
Alrighty. I'm going to use my movement to get back up to the top of the stairs if I can make it that far.
Yes, you can.
Alrighty. And I'll look for the nearest sailor and say, Sebastian told me the bathroom was this way. It seems that you have a very angry gentleman down there.
All right, go ahead and roll an interaction check.
Alrighty, I'll roll that flat. 5.
All right. The sailor kind of looks at you squinty and he's like, "Sebastian? I don't know any Sebastian. But that thing's ornery as a three-headed knoll. It all it does, feed me, eat stuff. You know, at this rate, we're gonna run out of prisoners."
Well, if it's angry, maybe we should give another. Could you point me towards them? I'd be happy to give it its next meal.
Oh, sure, sure, indeed. You know, you just want to take that portcullis over there, that, and head down below. You know, 3, 4, 5 flights down. You'll see it. You'll see it.
Fantastic. And what was your name, good sir? I don't think we've met yet.
Gullus.
Gullus. Aso, it's a pleasure, and I'll extend a hand to shake his hand on his way by towards the other portico.
He takes your hand and shakes it roughly, and you can feel the dirt and grime on his hand as he shakes your hand. Obviously, he's been at sea for quite a while and hasn't bathed in that entire time. And he smiles at you with crooked pirate-like teeth before turning and picking up his mop and going back to pushing it across the floor.
He's a good guy. I need to hire him. Hard worker. As soon as I get out of sight of him, I'll pop my handkerchief out and just wipe my hand. Yeah, because the coronavirus. And I will head towards that stairway that he pointed out towards me for me, and I'll start 3 flights down because he gave me quite a range there.
All right. And let's see what the Sooth deck has in store for you.
Hell. Ha! Called it. There's Pedro.
So I just want to point out that's another Nemesis card. So first was the Jackal, now it's the Devil. I'm not sure. Like I think the future sessions that we've had are going to be like fond memories of times we all spent with Aso.
Oh, like Lucas.
Yes, I mean, nobody ever really verified Aso's identity, so it could be a demon wearing an Aso meat suit by the time everybody figures it out, right?
That would be fun. Ish. Be quite the reveal.
Yeah. Oops. All right. So as you get to the lower levels, you know, you pass the first couple of levels look exactly like you'd expect. You know, libraries, there's student dorms, there's laboratories. But the further you descend, the darker things seem to get. Like the laboratories seem to be a little bit more questionable. Things start to get spread out. You get down to the third floor down, the fourth floor down. You're seeing less dormitories and more secretive type stuff. More locked libraries, locked doors, rooms that are heavily magically warded, sigils and summoning circles and stuff like that. When you get to the fourth floor down, you are actually seeing, you're deep into the bowels of the ship at this point, and you see what looks like the brig of a ship. And as you enter this floor, you can see heavy steel doors with iron bars for windows. And you can hear moaning and sobbing and weeping from all over. There's just a row of these doors, like 25 on each side of the hallway, and just you can hear the people within. And obviously, there's a feeling inside of your stomach that says this is not what you would expect from this ship.
Curious. Now the doorways themselves, are they in a manner that I can't see through them? I know you said like wrought iron. Are they more
They're
bars?
like iron doors, but they have a small, like 4-inch tall by like 8 inches long slat that you can look into, and those have bars in them, small bars, but you can look through that slat, that viewing hole, to see inside of each one.
Alrighty. I like to use a level 1 weave, and with the effect of create a visual illusion the size of a handheld object.
Okay.
And I would like to make the end of my umbrella glow using illumination from moonlight and duration from infinity. As I'm with it being this low level, I'm only trying to make it last for about a minute or so.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your 2 dice just in case there's a mishap.
Yeah, I'd hate to have a flux here. 4 and a 9 plus 1 each, but nemesis, so minus, so just a 4 and a 9.
Yep, and you didn't really need to succeed at anything because that was not opposed. You just needed to make sure you didn't have a flux. So yeah, you get exactly what you desire, a light at the end of your umbrella.
Alrighty. And I will start walking down the corridor, holding it up to each opening. Sorry, Tuck's going at a peanut butter jar. At each opening, looking through at the prisoners, but not getting my face quite too close to that opening. I'd hate to get my eyes gouged out.
You are shocked about 5 doors down on the left. You are shocked to see something that looks like your companion Zogi Paga. Horribly disfigured, rent over backwards and crushed. It is a corpse of Zogi Poga.
I'll lean closer to the opening. Zogi, is that you?
Judging by the smell, you can tell that it's been dead for quite some time. And you can see things crawling beneath the surface of its still open eyes that look like some type of insect. And his spine has been broken backwards, and his body's folded up like an accordion. But it clearly looks like Zogi.
Upon closer inspection, I am going to take a moment and heave my breakfast behind me, and then return to the opening of the door. Zogi, what did you do to yourself now? I suppose. And let's see, how can I get through this door? That is the question. Well, the body's not going anywhere. I'll see if I can find some keys and I'll come back for you, Zogi. And I will continue down the hallway, keeping an eye out for keys at this point as well.
All right, go ahead and roll a perception check.
All right, I will push one because I feel like getting Zogi out of here is a good idea. What's the Bene for that?
You should have a perception pool.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So just the flat roll. 8.
All right. At the very far end of the hallway, you see a ring with keys on it hanging on a hook next to the door at the far end. The door at the far end of the hallway, however, does not look like a prison door. It looks more like an office door.
Alrighty. I will start heading that way. Still checking through the doors on either side as I'm going, just to kind of get the best bearing for my surroundings as possible. Also, if I happen to see Verity kicking around in here somewhere, I'll make note of that. And I will actually head for that door and knock on it, given I don't find anything peculiar in these other rooms first.
Nope. As you get close to the door, the cells are empty. The closer you get to the door, and then most of the people that you're looking at when you look in seem to have some type of malady. There's something wrong with them. Either bulbous, like mucus type pus bags forming on their skin, or boils, or other types of physical ailments, obvious humpback, broken limbs, stuff like that. And they all look like students, actually. Young Bisley from around Saturnine, but you don't see anybody who appears to be like Verity. When you get to the end of the hallway, you knock on the door, and a woman's voice beckons for you to enter.
Alrighty, I will unlatch the door, swing it open, and step into the office.
You walk into to see a very stately office, and the woman there, Gribolis, is the captain of the ship, and sitting across from her is your apprentice Verity at a large oaken type desk. Verity's face is like ashen gray, and her eyes are glossed over like she's been drugged or induced. She's not really responsive to anything. She's just kind of sitting there like a sack of flesh. And this woman is sitting on the other side of the desk, drumming her fingers accordingly. And she looks up at you and immediately does not recognize you, um, and spits back at you. And what pleasure do I owe this visit, stranger?
Stranger no more. My name is Aso Yuri, and I believe we have some mutual interests from what I've seen on this boat so far today. I don't recognize her either, right?
So Yuri does not recognize her. That is correct.
Yeah, gotcha. Meta, yeah. And I will step forward and I will place my hand on the back of one of the chairs in the room and say, may I sit and conduct business as intellectuals?
How very interesting, she says, looking at you, which is hard to tell that she's looking at you because she doesn't really have a face, right?
Yeah.
But you know she's looking at you. How interesting, she says. I hadn't realized that we stopped anywhere to pick up visitors. Please have a seat.
No, no, no. You see, I have traveled far and wide to arrive here. Only by chance did I find my destination. I actually came looking for the studious young woman next to you here. This is my student, apprentice, you might say. Verity.
Oh, he's gonna die.
We'll see.
Go ahead and roll an interaction check.
Alrighty. I am trying to put off an aura of a slight aura of power, but more an aura of importance. And so I'd like to push a sortilege for that. To kind of
Okay,
give
go ahead.
myself that magical swagger per se. That devil card is still on, so I will push an interaction to make it a flat roll. Oh no!
Do we have anybody watching out there on the stream that would like to roll a minor flux?
I think Lady Merlin and Optimus Prime are. That's fitting.
All right, what do we get?
You can't help but overeat whenever food comes near you for the next week.
Oh boy.
Depends on what you define as food, I guess.
That sounds great. Okay, so you've tried to project this aura onto her, and she merely continues drumming her fingers on the desk, almost impatiently, and says, "Verity, oh, I'm afraid this young child has decided to seek new avenues of power."
Dissuaded? Or, excuse me, decided or persuaded?
Well, what exactly are you insinuating, Mr. Yuri? I thought we were having business conversation.
Absolutely. I'm just inquiring as to the, how might you say, presence of a contract between you and my student here. If one exists, I mean, business as usual. I must honor all contracts. But if she's here on her own volition, if she might be taken out of whatever trance state she seems to find herself in, maybe we could have that conversation with her.
Oh, I'm afraid to interrupt her right now would be most dangerous. She is on a intellectual journey, if you will, in the deeps of sleep. To yank her out now, that could cause irreversible harm, and I'm sure you wouldn't want such a thing to befall your beloved student.
No, absolutely not. I want what's best for her. I'm just merely inquiring as to your arrangement with her.
Well, we have a mutually beneficial arrangement here. As you can see, your pupil, former pupil, is getting the highest level of education here with the other students.
And what is it they study here? I've heard of your ship here, the valedictorian, and the academic privilege that it presides over the students of Saturn. What is it that is studied here? What is your focus?
Oh, many students come to study a great many things. Much of what happens out in the Alone is documented by the scholars and students aboard this vessel. And each comes with their own research project, their own ambitions and goals. It's a service we offer here to allow people to enhance their intelligence and explore their creativity without any of the rules or oversight from the Garants that occupy Saturn.
What would be the equivalent here to determining her intention as far as a role, like to gain insight? I would say.
I would say that's probably going to be perception.
Alrighty. I'm just gonna roll one of those just to see if I can better gauge her statement. Yeah, no, it's not making much sense to me.
Yeah, she's cryptic. You're having a hard time getting a read on her. Of course, having no facial expressions kind of helps with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's got the world's best poker face.
So you offer these students an education that is unmatched by any of the academias in Saturnine. I assume you thrive to keep your pupils safe and free of harm to the best of your ability. Yes?
Indeed, we do try to keep our pupils free from harm to the best of our abilities, but at the same time, we do not limit their academic pursuits. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes pupils need to be restrained for their own good. Sometimes certain geotic students summon things that they can't control and bad things happen. I'm sure you saw many of the holding cells beyond my office.
Aye, I did. One of particular disgust, excuse me for dropping some future embalming fluid on your floor, as I saw a gentleman with a spine broken backwards, beaten and battered, and oh, it was terrifying to see the bugs under his eyes. What a poor unfortunate uh, happenstance caused that.
Well, it is unfortunate when modalities turn up in the actuality, especially when a modality turns up that is particularly vicious or violent.
Oh. Meta here. Would ASO have kind of the base knowledge of what a modality is?
Yeah, they know, most Vizsla know of the concept of modalities, but they don't. Most people think that it's a theory, not fact.
Gotcha. Um, well, I think what you're doing for these students is important. I do. I think that you're giving them something, like I said before, that they can't find in Saturnine. In Saturnine, it's order this, forte that, you know, it, and you're giving them a knowledge that it would take them years of research on the Silver Sun to come across, firsthand experience. Um, how do students complete their instruction with you? What happens at the end of their research, or is there an end of their research?
For some students, there is no end to their research. One discovery leads to the next, leads to the next. I've had students aboard my vessel for a very long time. For others, once they complete their doctorate or their thesis, or they come to the conclusion of their work, they often return to Saturnine to share their findings amongst their various orders. Is not the indigo sun the sun of truth? And what greater truth than academic insight is there?
That, my friend, is an honest assessment. I feel comfortable but cautious leaving here and with Verity um, as one of your understudies. Um, however, uh, I think that each Visley is free to explore what it is that they want information about in this research, whether it be um, developing their own life in Saturnine, or going into the depths of dark research and magic, or even coming out here to the Alone. So, if you would allow me to speak with Verity before I departed, I would most appreciate that. Just have a way of saying goodbye to her, closing this book, this chapter of my life.
Oh, I think we could arrange for you two to talk. Like I said, it'd be very dangerous to pull her out from where she is. But I don't see any harm in sending you there. And then when you're ready to return, you'll come right back, I'm sure.
From the dream realm.
Yes, the deeps of sleep. That's where she's currently studying.
And how often does she come out of there? It can't be healthy to stay there um, for an extended period of time. There must be times when your students come back and take note of their research and report back with their findings.
Oh, yes. We carefully monitor our students. That's why I'm here, to make sure her safety is paramount to me. Uh, I don't know precisely when she'll return at this point, but if you'd like to stay in one of our guest rooms, I can certainly notify you as soon as she wakes up.
Would it be possible for you to just pop over to the deeps of sleep and ask her if she'd return for me? I'm not too comfortable with the dream realm. You see, I've only made one trip there before, and it's it's not necessarily my cup of tea.
Possible? Maybe. However, I have other duties as the ship's captain to go sending my mind off to other realms and other suns. That would be very irresponsible of me to ignore my other duties. Are you sure you are not interested in waiting? You could have a night. We'll prepare a fine feast in our hall for you.
I'm sure I could make it worth the time away if you were to name the price. Like I said, I've been to sea for quite a long time, and the quicker I can return, the better. I have a lot of responsibilities back in Saturnine. As you have responsibilities here, I assume and imagine. Um, but like I said, if you were to perhaps mention something of interest to you or a price line, we could discuss making this message delivery service profitable for you.
Go ahead and roll a interaction check.
Yep. I'm gonna push my third interaction.
Hey, GM, while he's working on rolling, chat says you need to take a drink because you've been talking a lot.
That is a flat 8 with the devil -1 and the +1 from the interact.
All right. She kind of leans back in her chair. What message would you have me bring to your young student?
And I will slowly reach into the inside jacket pocket on my suit and withdraw a sealed letter and slide it across the desk, making sure I don't get too close. Simply hand her this and ask her to read it if she so decides to return on her own. That's all I ask. But if she is in pursuit of knowledge, willing and able, then there's nothing for me to do but accept that and allow her to continue her pursuit of knowledge in the hopes that one day when she finishes her research, she will come share her findings with me.
And for payment, I suppose you have something of value, mage coin, perhaps?
Yes, I do have mage coin. Is there a numerical value you had in mind here? What's it worth to you?
I do believe a standard courier fee would at least be worth 1 mage coin, perhaps even 2.
I will again slowly reach behind me into my rear fanny pack underneath my coat tail, grab out 3 mage coin, place them on top of the letter, say, and another when you return.
She slides her hand across the desk, slips the letter into her hand, and then says, I will return shortly. Please don't get into any trouble while I'm away. And with that, she bursts into a black cloud of flame and disappears, leaving you in the room with Verity, and it's her basic office type space.
Okay, I'll wait for the flip.
All right, there's the flip.
Oh yeah, that one's always fun. I like that one. Bye, Verity.
As she poofs, I will sit back in the chair and start rambling off to Verity, the tales of my travel, the unseen beauties of the alone and the crashing of the waves, as well as as you would chatting with somebody either at a gravesite or at a somebody who's unconscious in a hospital. Just kind of tell them about my day and my path to find her. Not sure if any of it's reaching her, but I'd like to sit for an hour and talk to her.
All right. So as you begin to talk to her and whatnot, you notice out of the corner of the room, what you thought was a shadow starts to move a little bit across the floor. And you realize that it's not the shadow from a desk or a lamp or anything like that, but rather a black ooze that kind of lingers in place. And you can feel a sinister energy coming from it as it begins to kind of creep forward towards where you're sitting.
Trying not to alert it to me knowing its approach. Mid-sentence or at a climax of one of the things that I'm saying, I will stand up and slowly kind of stroll away from it in the room and see if it continues to follow me as I move around the room talking to Verity still.
As you begin to move around the room, you realize that this puddle of ooze is roughly 9 feet across. And it not only tracks you from the corner that you originally saw it, but you see the slime encroaching from the other side of the room as well, as it's kind of bending around the desk and moving forward towards you and Verity.
Verity, I'll need just a second.
All right.
Actually, if you don't mind, can we just take a quick break so I can use the restroom?
Sure. We can take a quick timeout. We'll call it a 5-minute.
Sounds good. Thanks.
thanks for hanging with us there, folks. We're back and ready to keep going. So, Aso, you see this slime encroaching on both sides of the room, and it's kind of bending and
Verity, I'm looking for a specific perception check here. There are some light sources in the room, a candle or a lantern or something along those lines.
yes, there are multiple lamps and candles. The room is lit.
Does it appear to be avoiding them specifically?
Nope, not whatsoever.
There goes that idea. Hello there. Getting a little close to my personal space. Would you mind backing up? You always gotta try, man.
The slime kind of shimmers, and then a small portion of it breaks off and forms into like a wolf-like creature made entirely of slime and growls at you.
Look, she asked me not to cause any trouble. I expect she meant the same of you. I really don't want to have to hurt you, buddy. I think we can get along just fine.
And with that, it lunges at you with like its ooze-like teeth.
Alrighty. Can I get a guesstimate of its weight?
Probably about 90 pounds.
Alrighty.
If that were going to be its size, I mean, it's made of slime, so you don't really know, right? It's like
Yeah,
black,
I was
soulless
just
slime.
kind of a guesstimate. Just gotta check through these aggregates here real quick. All right, I'm gonna do an old weave here using stone from diamond and mental damage from infinity. And I am going to attempt to turn its. I can't be sure that it has a brain, so in order to target the brain, I'm going to target the whole thing and try to turn it to stone. And my thought here is somewhere in line with a 5th level destroy object up to 125 pounds.
Okay, go for it. Oh, another flux.
But a 13 as well.
Yep, and a 5.
And a 5, yeah.
All right. If we can have somebody in the audience roll us another flux. Your spell is going to take a hold on the level 3 shadow creature, and it is going to, the ooze thing is going to transform into stone. And it's just going to, the whole thing's going to turn to stone in front of you and then crumble as if it was shattered. To which the ooze is going to violently react and pull back.
Wait, there was multiple shadows?
The ooze spawned a piece of it that had broken off and turned into the wolf.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
All right, so minor magical flux. Someone close to you suffers 2 damage.
Oh.
Definitely going to be the slime.
So you, as the slime pulls back, you see scratch marks appear on Verity's face, like as if a set of 4 fingers had clawed the side of her face.
I'm going to turn to it and look at it very sternly. Was that you?
Go ahead and make an intellect check.
About to break my own heart here. Yep.
All right. No insight for you. So, yeah, the slime, after retreating from having a piece of it damaged, seems to be coiling back up again. And now there's like only 8 feet wide instead of 9 feet wide. And it kind of bubbles in the middle, and a form in the shape of the looming shade rises from the bubbling slime and begins lumbering towards you.
I'm going to look at it and say, you got about 5 to 6 seconds to stop this, and I let you walk out of here. I let you keep living. The lady here is not going to be happy if I have to kill you. But if it's my life or yours, I hate to break it to you, I'm choosing mine. And I'm going to take my action rest to restore my sorcery.
All right, and it's going to go ahead and swipe at you with like an ooze type arm. It's going to like claw at you.
Alrighty. Kicking the chair between us into it. I'm going to try to use that as a dodge to aid my dodge. And I'm just going to add a movement to it. Do I have any minuses from?
No, not on that right now.
Alrighty, so +1. 6.
All right, 6. You manage to dodge out of the way as the creature smashes the chair to bits. Go ahead.
Alrighty, that was my last movement. It's a good thing I saved it, I think. I'm going to look to it again. I said, that was your chance. And I am then going to cast the same spell again, stone and mental damage. And in an attempt to get, he's still like standing in the slime puddle, right? He's just kind of risen out of it, and they're all like one entity now.
Yes, indeed
Okay.
he has.
Yes. And I'm going to do that to him.
In the background, I did drop the next card flip, by the way.
Okay. Is this the bat? This is the, yeah. I'm getting real lucky tonight.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's okay though. I'll roll for that.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for your spell.
So that's an 11 and a 13.
All right. The entire mass of slime turns to stone and shatters, falling to the floor in pebbles and dust and dirt. And you breathe a sigh of relief, but then Verity starts screaming, just letting out this wail of pain and terror. And you look at her as her eyes like bolt open, and her skin turns ashen gray pale, and a little bit of the blue in her hair starts to fade to gray. And she just seems entirely tortured, if you will.
All right, I like to immediately cast this incantation on her.
All right. Are you going to go for a wound or an anguish?
My thought process is that this looks more like mental damage, given that the woman's in her head right now. So I'm going to go with anguish.
All right. So as you cast the incantation and you heal her anguish, she stops screaming and kind of settles down, but you can tell she does not look good right now. Go ahead and make an intellect check.
Alrighty, let me see if I have any to put. Where's my counter? Yep, I have one left. Do I have any minuses with this new card?
No.
Notice how I'm only asking if I have minuses, because, yeah. Survey says 5, I think.
All right. So as you study what's happening in front of you, part of your mind, if you will, begs a question that if Verity was in the deeps of sleep and her physical body was still here, why did your hosts disappear entirely to go to the same place?
That is a question I've been asking myself. I need to read a card real quick. Now, she did mention that it would be very unsafe to pull her out of the depths of sleep.
That's what she had said, yes.
Okay. Alrighty. I'm going to take a moment to kind of kick all the dust and rubble into a pile from the shade. Grabbing a quill off her desk, saying sorry about your pet on a piece of paper. Says, she's leaving on break. She'll be back for more research later. And I'm going to leave that on the desk. Take an immediate rest. And use the spell that I used in the Undersling, which was a level 10. Open or not a level 10, a level 9. Teleport to anywhere in this or any universe using the movement from Infinity and land from Diamond, I believe it was.
All right.
Yes. And I am going to upgrade it to a level 10 to include an additional target. Is that right?
Yep, it's +1 per target if you're doing multiple targets.
And wrap my arms around Verity, cast the weave, and as in true Aso fashion, shatter. 18 and 14. My destination is going to be Patch's front yard.
All right. Without any opposition, you're able to pull off your spell and you arrive at Patch's front yard, seemingly safe.
Keyword. Patch! It's me! Again! I need you. Are you here?
Your voice rings out a hollow echo as you look around, and something feels off, but you can't quite tell what.
He's not here. This wasn't the place to go. Who else knows about this? Sleep, sleep, sleep. Exlena. And I will pick Verity up and start a walk for towards the necropolis of the Nagash to the she lived in the mausoleum next to it. Is that right? Or the mansion?
She lives in the house, the estate at the back of the cemetery.
Yes, I will start walking that way from Patch's place.
All right, go ahead and make a perception check.
Yeah, I'm screwed. 4.
All right. As you walk towards the necropolis, you find yourself at the necropolis gates very quickly, unbelievably fast, as if you'd merely thought that that's where you were going, and there you were. Perhaps it was that you were focused too much on Verity and her wellness. Perhaps there was something more to it. You don't know.
Maybe you're not the only one dreaming, love. And I'll look down at her and then I'll open the gate to head back towards the mansion. I'm still trusting in I'm still trusting in my mind here.
All right, go ahead and make another perception roll.
1.
Wow.
Any chance I can get a card for a new location?
Yes. The Raven.
Hey, look at it this way. It's a companion. It's not a nemesis.
Yeah, which means it duplicates the previously played card.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Verity's having a rough night tonight.
Seems like Aso might be too.
All right, as you approach what would normally be Exlena's house mansion, you see a pair of bunny ears walking across the front porch, like a rabbit is moving quickly across the front steps.
Getting slightly tired at this point, carrying Verity. I'm going to keep walking up, but as I'm walking, start hollering out for X. And then seeing the bunny, I'm going to say, "Hey, you there!" Come over here. What are you doing here? Is Axelina home?
As this creature comes into view, and you see it standing on the steps of Ixlina's house, you notice things looking around. Like, you can't read any of the gravestones. The text that would be there is all jumbled and messed up. It's wrong. And this creature holds a finger up and shushes you. And you realize there's nobody around. Like, you don't feel the normal cold that comes with the necropolis. There's no sign of your breath in the air. In fact, there's no moonlight whatsoever, but yet you're still navigating through. And you instantly realize that perhaps it wasn't Graviolus who disappeared from the room. As this creature descends towards you and Verity.
Alrighty. I'll listen to it. I'll stop talking and wait for its approach. Say, I think I'm lost. Speak softly. I think I'm lost. I need to find my way out of the deeps of sleep.
As it approaches you, everything you can see in your peripheral vision goes black. The area around you fills with darkness and shadows. Instantly, it seems like this thing is right within touching distance of you, as if it could move through the very shadows itself. And it reaches out and touches Verity. And the last of the color in her hair goes gray, and her skin turns gray, almost as if all color from her is faded, and she's just black and white.
Check for a pulse.
She is still alive.
What does this mean? Who are you?
It looks at you, and it begins reaching towards you to touch you.
Oh, fuck. I'm gonna turn and hightail.
Are you leaving Verity behind you?
Nope, still in my arms.
All right, you're going to run.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and make a movement check.
5.
Ox, can you read that card to me? I missed the title when I put it down.
That is the Enticing Jewel. It's an invisible card. It's not entirely bad. So, this could be your first good card for the night.
Could.
Oh, gee, got a new follower. Johnny, who's that? Johnny Z80. Thanks
What
and
up?
welcome.
All right, and if you don't mind plopping that card back down for us. Okay. You immediately, with Verity in your arms, you turn and beat feet running right away. And you make it like 5 feet into the shadow in the darkness, and you find yourself somewhere else. Um, you happen to be standing in the ballroom of the Diamond Row. And it is clearly during the masquerade ball that you had played, um, that you had put on with your comrades back around the Halloween time. And people are there with masks on and they're dancing, and things are happening like you had guessed you wished it to happen. Um, there's no Samhain ghost spirit causing trouble. People are just socializing. It seems like a normal party. And it's like you just walked into the middle of the party with Verity in your arms.
Do I see any of my compatriots around during the
Yes.
festivities?
Yes, you see a couple of your compatriots around. Everybody who had attended the masquerade ball is actually there in attendance. So you see Oxivius, you see Shazara, you see Natalia, you see Bane. All of the people who were there are there, dressed up with masks on their face, having a good time, laughing and eating. And people are really not even reacting to you at this point. Like you're standing there with her in your arms, but nobody's even acknowledging you.
I am going to, very movie-esque, slowly walk through the crowd of the dancers as they miss me by inches on either side, and walk up to Ixlina, who is standing there having a conversation with Oxivius. And I'm assuming she doesn't look at me specifically, but I'm going to call out to her to the best of my ability. With where's the level 4 telepathy at close range
Okay.
to drain my sorcery, and I'm going to try to speak with her across the realm. Maybe she's even in this realm, I don't know, but I'm trying to reach the real Ixlina. Help me, Ixlina, it's Aso. I think I'm trapped in the dream realm, or the deeps of sleep with Verity. I need you. And I'll spend and roll.
All right, go ahead and roll the dice for that.
So that comes out to a 12 and an 8.
From across the room, Ixlina looks at you, and almost as if the entire room were no longer there, she walks straight at you, passing through people as if they were ghosts. And she comes to stand before you and looks at you, and she's like, Aso, by God, what are you doing here?
I believe I was trapped. I went to save Verity, and the being that had her said that she was in the deeps of sleep, and she said she was going there to deliver a message for me, and then I think she stole my mage coins. It's not been a very good night, and I believe she sent me to the deeps of sleep instead. And and then there was this bunny at your house, a bunny person, and it came and it touched Verity, and I mean, look at her. She has nothing left. She's colorless.
Aso, you need to get out of here. You're in my dream, Aso.
How do I get out, X?
Aso, every night my dreams are nightmares. I'm laying in my house. This place is going to turn into a bloodbath, and I can't protect you here. And she begins weaving a spell. And as she begins weaving, unlike all the times that you had seen her before, her weave is covered in darkness. Uh, there's skulls mixed into her magical um, essence as she waves her hands in the air, um, pulling together dreams and infinity in an aggregate. And she reaches forward and touches your forehead. And immediately upon doing so, your eyes burst open and you're back in the study. And Graviolus is standing on the other side of her desk um, with this black ooze like slime all around you, like it's on your legs and it's creeping up your torso. Um, but now you're awake, and the minute you wake up, the sludge-like slime begins to retract from you, almost like it can't stand that your body's awake, and it begins to recede back down your legs.
Well, that was kind of rude, don't you think? I thought we were doing business as intellectuals. I assume you delivered the message?
You asked for a message to be delivered. I do believe I sent a message.
I do believe I asked for a specific message to be delivered to a specific individual.
Um,
I feel like I've been swindled here, and I can't help but to think you're not an honorary businesswoman.
Aso, you actually realize that the spells that you cast while you were sleeping didn't actually use your sorcery pool. So your sorcery pool is back to full.
When did I fall asleep?
You fell asleep when she turned into the flames.
So does that mean that I also have my immediate back?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything from her disappearing in the flames was your entrance into the deep of sleep.
Oh, jeez. Fuck that shit. I'm not falling asleep again for like at least a month after this. Yeah, but I'll hold on to that last statement and wait for a response from her. Non-honorary businesswoman.
My dear sir, you have intruded upon my vessel. You have barged into my office. You are an unwelcome guest here.
Uh, well, you use very strong language here, madam. Barged into your office. I merely knocked and you beckoned me forth. Intruded on your vessel? Oh, I wasn't told to get off. I stopped by to see what was going on. I saw a ship in the night in the endless vast sea, and I thought, here's a chance to rest my wings. I plopped down. I had a few chats with your sailors out there. There didn't seem that there was any exclusivity here. My apologies if you think that I intruded, but when I came down here and spoke with you, I thought we had a mutual understanding, an arrangement. Now, unwelcome. I'll allow that one to slip by.
Well, aren't you a clever advocate for your own designs and ends? But I have delivered your opportunity to send a message to your apprentice, if you will. I think it's time for you to go.
And, well, if it is as you say, you delivered the letter to Verity, and I'll look at her questioningly.
She's going to slide the letter and the coins back across the desk.
I'll collect the 3 coins, throw them back in my rear fanny pack, grab the letter, tuck it into the folds of Verity's shirt or pants or whatever it may be. It may just need to be in her lap, depending on what she's wearing. And yeah, I'll tuck it into like her buckler that kind of goes across her chest there. I'll just tuck it under by the waist side. Do I get any inclination as to whether she knows what I did while I was asleep?
Grabiolus?
Yeah.
Take an intellect check.
Okay. 4.
You don't get an inclination that she knows what you did, so much just like you don't have any insight on that. However, you can tell that she's shocked that you're awake. Like she was not expecting you to wake up, and the slime like retreated down your body and under her desk.
That aura of power finally came through. Thanks, X. Yeah. I'm definitely awake now. That's a fact.
Yes.
Let me just double check this sheet. Alrighty. I'm going to slowly weave together diamond with capacity, using the beauty feature asset of diamond, to produce a small, well, relatively small, 5 or 6 inch large gem. Hold it up looking at her. Say, I think I will leave. And that's like a level 3, I think.
Okay.
For the
what?
small it's a
Small permanent
temporary effect. Yeah. Yep. And with that, I am going to, I've been holding on to it since session 1. Final thoughts of a dying star. I'm going to throw an invisible net over her, in an attempt to capture her soul and transfer it to the gem in my hand.
All right, roll it.
Oh, fuck. Okay. 16 and 13.
And you're throwing it over Grabiolus?
Yes. In case you can't read it at home, because I know sometimes the stream can get a little grainy. You create an intangible but visible net that, if passed through a living creature, captures their souls, and if transferred to a receptacle such as a crystal vessel or gem or metal sphere, the soul can be stored indefinitely. Otherwise, the soul returns to its body when the sun next rises. Oh, what is this card?
All right. So the intangible net passes through her, and you feel a dark, twisted soul be sucked into your crystal vessel. And you can feel it as if it is holding evil itself in your hand. And she remains standing, much to your surprise, almost as if her soul wasn't alone inside of that body. And the thing that's left in there is a mite bit scarier than what you're holding in your hand. You can feel utter darkness, like you are in the presence of something from the dark, that is just menacing, evil aura emanating from her soulless body.
So I sucked one soul out, but an eviler soul remains. If I'm interpreting that right.
There are some things inside the actuality that can cohabitate, like a person who vessels souls, who acts as a vessel for spirits, um, as well as certain demonic entities that can exist within, cohabitating with the soul. So it's not uncommon for something else to be living inside of the body.
That did not work as expected, and I'm going to tuck the gem into my back fanny pack. Who are you?
It's going to raise a hand at you and fire a dark black blast of energy directly at you, like a scathing, acidic black, almost a black acid type projectile is going to come from its hand directly at you.
I'll be back for you, Verity. And as my dodge, I will use the same 9th level spell as before, not pushing one as I'm only taking myself. Oh, this hurts. But I don't think I'm rolling out of the way of this one. And I'm going to shatter and reappear at the
Paper appears.
The yes, the paper appears, but I'm trying to think of the name of that station where I sent my messages before to tie everything in.
You're out front of Madame Mazzuli's place, and then
It's the courier office. It wasn't a named place. I was just trying to think of what it was called.
oh, okay.
The courier office is where you can still send the WhisperNet messages, but normally they just do the regular message delivery.
Yep. Okay.
I believe so. And yeah, I am going to pay my, I believe it was 60 crystal orbs to send that message to the five people that I mentioned in the post, and tie everything back together with literally a package of evil stuck up my ass.
All right. So I'm going to give you a despair for having left Verity behind, if you will, knowing that there was something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
The newest card flip that I just dropped in, the driver that's sitting on the Silver Sun, is indicative of a longer journey. But it can also be that a decision somebody has made is going to cause large ramifications for everybody else. And you have a twisted ass soul in your back pocket. So I'm gonna say that's very fitting for you guys to come to terms with.
Yeah. Definitely going to need to have conversations with some choice people very soon.
Very nice. So that wraps up getting you back to the dock where you reached out to everybody else at the beginning of the last play session, and everybody came back. As a higher level discussion, I'm going to also throw you one acumen for the session, for the mini session, for what has happened. And what do you have for arcs with Verity right now? Did you have a rescue arc, or is it just the training arc?
It's just the training arc, but I believe there's like a rock bottom part of that. Let me instructor. I'm not sure if this fits. This is the only thing that I would think. Many times a student needs to have a moment of crisis to really learn something. I don't think I've actually gotten to that yet, so never mind. The level of crisis to learn something, that may be when I have to go back to get her. But I don't think I hit that today.
Okay, so as an out of character thing, you got a crazy amount of bad card flips in a row there. Was that five? Five bad cards
You could
in
just
a
count them
row,
all.
and then
Except
and
for
then
the
the
jewel.
Raven. So did you have a chance to grasp what actually happened to Verity with the Mori Gra?
I think it stole her dreams, but I'm not sure there.
That creature from the dark is a creature that actively hunts Vizsla, and it steals their magic by transforming them into near lifeless and listless versions of themselves, sucking the color from them.
Ooh, good thing it didn't fucking touch me.
So on the inevitable cataclysm, that has a very negative effect for an NPC that's close to you, up to and including death or loss of connection. So having that hit double with the companion, that is the effect. That's what you just witnessed happen to her, like in a meta level. So there is possibility down the road to take an arc to try to like heal her once you rescue her. But I would think at this point the rescue arc would be more appropriate to open up for you.
Okay. I can do that. I do have like 5 arcs open on ASO.
Okay.
So I'll have to clean some of those up before I really start on the second round of this. I need to talk to the group. Something more evil than what I was barely able to come out of there with by myself. I definitely need some backup next time. And I obviously need to have a conversation with Zogi. Yeah, so just a point of note, when I came back and the ooze all ran away and shit, was Verity still gray when I came out?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I know, that bunny just looks so inviting. I was like, what's up, man? Oh, you look mystical as all hell. You're going to help me? And then, nope.
No, you see, I look at that picture, and that's actually artwork from the Monty Cook's team. And I look at that, and I'm like, yeah, that is sheer evil right there.
I was kind of thinking something from like Donnie Darko. It did not seem good or nice at all.
Yeah.
But it's got a key.
I mean,
everything
look at
with
it.
a key is good.
That looks evil.
I would keep it as a pet.
All right. I think that wraps us up for this development side session. Thanks everybody for watching. And we will play our next session on Saturday. And we'll have the entire group come back together. And do you have anything you want to add to that, Oxivius?
No, I think you nailed it all right there. Next session live Saturday. Selena is going to be sitting in the player seat, and I will be sitting in the game running seat. That'll be my first time doing it on the stream, so hopefully I don't botch it. Got some big shoes to fill, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night, and stay healthy and safe out there.
All right. Bye, folks.
No, it would keep you